Good evening and welcome to the Post Cafe, where the art of conversation comes alive. Highlighting a new era of the Post Cafe, where artistic voices comes alive. As we welcome everyone into and across the threshold of a new beginning, we will honor the voices and faces on our second anniversary. Today's stories will mark a new chapter on the billboard for artists, writers, singers, poets, painters, and crafters, many with gifted talent, sharing stories of yesterday, today, and stories untold, poetically speaking. Welcome to the Poets Cafe with Ron C. McCray and Terry Benjamin. We will continue on our journey into a new romance novel of relationship with music as lit, of the soul and rhythm moving the body from side to side, leaving only memories of our audience as we move forward in today's show. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started into our show and listen to the voices of the shadows of winds blow, poetically speaking.
Yes, if it is Sunday, it must be Poetically Speaking with yours truly, Terry Benjamin, and my brother here, Ronald C. McCray. Engineer for this afternoon is Trish. Yes, she's here with us. And beautiful Sunday. It's cold, but that's okay. We're going to warm it up. And the way we're going to warm it up, we're going to put our VIP people in the VIP lounge. And Ron, I got a lot of VIPs today. I guess they want to stay warm with us, So we're all together on this marks the first day of Black History Month, and we're going to have some very special programming for you for this Black History Month. We're going to definitely celebrate that like it's never been celebrated before, because again, they're trying to take our history. We're going to take it back. And so I just want to take time to put our VIPs in the VIP lounge. And so here we go. Okay, so when you hear your name, take your seat. Sylvia Carter, Deborah Dowser, Joanne Blount, Dr. Aubrey Hendricks, Odessa Joan Wallace Perry, Darrell Jackson, Isu Canty, Mary McDonald Swindell, Dina Robinson, Robert Cabbage-Stalk, Sharon Jones Casey, Elliot Hale, Monica Sane, Erica Brown, Laretha Foster Brown, Theara Washington, Peggy Rose Oliver, Charles Mitchell II, Tyrone Johnson, Tara Branch, Clinton Miller Jr., Robert Sessoms III, Geraldine Wilson, James Holloway, Keith Harper Sr., Deborah Gaskins, Harry Mars, Mary Louise Dowser, Yvonne Tomlinson, Verda Pringle Reed, Marilyn Holder, Quanae, the Pie Lady, Palmer, Jacqueline Ayala, Laura Flashberg, Pat Hughes, Darlene Brown, Edgar McKenzie, Karen Wells, Alan Mackey, Barbara Bowles Valentine, Jamal Abdullah, Juanita McClure, Tam Jernigan, Sandra Williams, George Williams, Marcella Ash, Gail Stewart, Sankofa Sojourns, Edgar McKenzie, and Mary Lou Malin-Sporer. Now, again, we put these people in the VIP lounge because you're very important to us. As a matter of fact, you inspire us to do the things that we do. And on that note, we come to you every Thursday from 6 to 7, and then on Sunday from 5 to 6. But, we love you so much, we just can't get enough of you, and we want you to come out and see us. I'm going to repeat this again, but on February the 18th, it's a Wednesday night at 6 p.m., we're going to be at the Rawway Public Library. And we actually come out for an open mic session. Come out and bring yourself, bring your poetry, bring your family. It's going to be a real family affair. So that's February the 18th at 6 p.m. at the Rawley Public Library. And so we're going to talk some more about that. But as a matter of fact, we want you to come out because we want to meet you. We want to greet you. We want to talk to you, and we want to just show our appreciation to you. Okay? So today's agenda, the American dream. I can see clearly now. And what we mean by that is the fact that, oh man, we've been tricked, Ron. We've been bamboozled. we've been knocked out of the box. We've been lied to, all in the name of the American dream, man. They told us something that wasn't real, that wasn't true, and now we're seeing the real deal. And I don't know if it's because there's so many things that happen that's hard to ignore, but I see clearly now. I see what the game is, and I see what I have to do to get beyond this, and we will get beyond this. We are strong people, and because we're strong, we know what we have to do. And what happens is that we have allies that we never had before, because we're seeing that it's just not us getting the business, there's other people as well. And so we got to come together. We have to come together and see this situation and deal with this situation. So again, today's agenda is the American dream. I can see clearly now. Quote of the day is from one of our people there on the board, Imamu Emiri Baraka. And before I go to the quote, I want to break his name down. Okay, Imamu. That's Swahili for spiritual teacher, Emiri, prince. And so he is a spiritual teacher. He's a prince, and he's a Baraka, Imamu Emiri Baraka. And his quote is, "The artist's role is to raise the consciousness of the people, to make them understand life, the world, and themselves more completely." That's how I see it. Otherwise, I don't know why you do it. And what we do is our art, is the way we express ourselves, is the way that we come to you twice a week. But again, we want to raise your consciousness because you are our people. And as always, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce this segment of our program, it's called Ron's Poetry because Ron wrote the poetry. How about that? Ron, what do you have for us tonight?
First, I truly like to piggyback off what you have also read into every single one of our guests. Truly, thank you. And a lot of names seem like I know y'all personally. And if I haven't seen you in a long time, it's truly a pleasure. Although I may not have seen you or see you, but it's truly a pleasure just to hear your name.
That's right.
And that's what makes it different. That means I didn't lose my mind yet. So that's a good thing.
Not yet.
So once again, to every person, those who are in part of the VIP list or in the room or whatever, thank you. It makes a big difference.
Yes, it's the VIP lounge, okay? And you can get into that, but just let me know through TikTok or Facebook that you are going to be tuning into the program. I will definitely let people know that you're here.
I'd like to start out with this one. There's a couple of things I have, but I'd like to start out with this one. And this one is titled Reflections of Another. It's interesting because as last time we were here, you heard the song by Diana Ross, Reflections of, the love I lost, whatever the case may be. Don't get me started. I ain't trying to remember the words. But nevertheless, it's about reflection. And reflection is centered around each and every one of us who looks in the mirror, look at something, you're passing by, you see the reflection. Too often and too many, and I want to say this point blank, too many want to be like somebody else. You see, instead of being yourself. Because when you try to be like somebody else, there's somebody else who's trying to be like you. It's something about each one of us that somebody likes. But the point is, how often does each one take time to reflect on themselves? That's right. The old saying, I'm black and I'm proud and I'm beautiful. I know I look good. It doesn't matter what you may think you look like on the outside. It all starts on the inside. If you got a smile of joy and you sparkling like the sun, the stars, and everything else, all that will shine on the outside. People don't look on the inside. They really criticize you from the outside. That's right. Look at him or her, whatever case may be. But when you have a smile, a true smile from the soul, Everything else doesn't matter. They say, I love that person. It's just something about that smile. And that's what one thing I believe in, you know. But let me get right into this. Self-reflection of another is the image one perceives of oneself, looking and acting like someone else without understanding the course of being someone else, based on the false narrative. Too often, many seek to look and act like another, failing to realize how important it is to accept who they are and their true identity. Only then can anyone truly appreciate authenticity. Being yourself is the most precious gift of life, Being yourself is the most precious gift life has to offer. Reflection is the shadow of an illusion created by a narrative that suggests one can be transformed into something other than the real product, you. You are the reflection of yourself. Each time you look around in and around an image, there you are, your face reflecting every move and opportunity to showcase authenticity. It is the home of who you are, without blemish, makeup, false eyelash, false hair, nails, or anything else. Many others invaders of the human anatomy. All those are false. Reflections are images across everything that shows something of something, giving birth to an illusion without showing facts. Unless you undress yourself and realize nothing has changed, you know it's you, the one you are looking at, and you appreciate the beauty and glory you perceive. Reflection is a world without the illusion that what appears to be is unreal, when in fact all that life has given is the reality of something worth living for, without any change unless beyond one's control. What is a reflection and what's yours?
That's deep. That's deep. And again, I think it's important to understand that sometimes there's different standards of beauties based on different cultures, and then we need to explore that as well. Because sometimes I know when I was growing up, and you know, Ron, that the standard beauty was blonde hair and blue eyes. And as I look around my family, I didn't see that, you know, because that's not what we were about. But we were beautiful. Like they said back in the day, black is beautiful.
You know, I'd like to read this one, whether it was done again or whatever. The bottom line is every second of our breathing life is never something new or old. Yeah. And it may be repeated, but something changed constantly, no matter how you look at it. Mind, body, and misunderstanding. The mind, body, and misunderstanding of connecting parts are shattered by a lack of intimate communications. A dialogue goes south without any direction to sign to point out the misuse of one's own thinking pattern. The wrong connection hinders men and women's poor relationship because they can't recognize each other's sensitive side. Yet they find excuses to hurt one another, leaving them feeling lonely and searching for comfort while hiding behind their reasons for being wrong. To understand a helpmeet, one must reflect on their own reason for justifying or denying the growth of a healthy relationship. Relationships are built on a solid foundation, not on lava spilling over and down a slope, destroying everything in its path without mercy or healing. Similarly, when being examined by your primary doctor, questions are asked and expressed before touching the wrong nerve, which will ultimately cause a decline in seeking clarity to solve any hidden issues lurking beneath the surface. Each one causes damage control, where each part is tossed without knowing if it can be fixed. Discarding will create a backlash on the other side. When someone thinks the grass is greener, the appearance always gives an illusion that they can be entirely on their own, perpetuating a false narrative in the mind of a fractured individual. An old saying goes that a mind is a terrible thing to lose or even waste, discarded into the trash pile of nothing when every part can be reused when connected to the right body. Find your mate and you will find success. It starts with the art of organic conversation, straight, raw, and uncensored. Just be real. Teddy Pendergrass, song before song. Be for real. A bad attitude is like a flaw that cuts deep without mercy, only ending when the pain stops and a person regains clarity and self-identity. Do you know who you are?
Yes, the art of conversation. Understand that is the heart of our program. We really are about that, and later on in the program, we're going to go into the art of conversation even deeper with our special guests.
You know, this last piece here, just in short, and as we continue to move on, and I'll be honest with you, because something hit me, and I kept looking at this word, because we hear it on a regular basis, but how many know it, understand it, or even share it? Yeah. Okay, and that is apartheid. And I don't know what hit me, but it hit me, and I looked it up and found out, although it's used, but it's centered around what the colonizer gave that actually became part of us and our identity, and it's about separation. And let me just read this couple of lines here, okay? And it's I took this offline, okay? Apartheid. Main articles: History of South Africa, 1815 to 1910, and History of South Africa, 1910 and 1948. Apartheid is an African word meaning separation, separateness, or a state of being apart, literally apartness or aparthood. And I looked at that aparthood, and it kind of gave me the sense, in a lot of ways, a negative, because they're saying, well, who's in the hood, lives in the hood, and that's a term that's over you. Well, you from the hood? You know, and so that's where, in a sense, how I look at it, that you can look it up and find out for yourself. But I'm reading from what I pulled up offline. You know, from the Africans suffix. Racial discrimination against black people in South Africa dates to the beginning of large-scale European colonization of South Africa with the Dutch fast to 1652, which eventually expanded into the Dutch Cape Colony. The company began I can't pronounce the name, called something, Khoi, Dutch War, in which it displaced the local, same word, people, slaves from across the Dutch Empire. In the days of slavery, slaves required passes to travel away from their owners. And so I just wanted to read that because, again, it gives a sense for every one of us to go back, to revisit, to learn something new, as I just expressed to you, because it's used all the time, apartheid. But how many understand the breakdown of it, where it come from? I say all the time, everything in life has an inception. Once you go back and learn and understand the inception, then you have a clear view of what's happening today. Words is words, but you have to understand where those words come from. What do they mean? A lot of words mean somebody. And God gave all of us names, you know, but how many look up your name outside of the names that you created? But nevertheless, the names that God gave was either represent something good or something bad. And in this case, apartheid identify, in my opinion, a separation. So why is the term used? But it's easy to use something that somebody else may not know, I think you don't know, and give it that name. So you turn around and carry it out. And that's what's happened today. Too often, too many young, middle, and seasoned seniors, you take something, you pick up something, you run with it without understanding where you got it from. And the moment somebody asks you where you get it from, so I don't know, don't ask me, I got it from someplace else. And that's the problem.
That's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. You have to know what you're talking about and where the information is coming from, especially now with all these AI-generated images and AI-generated talking points and videos. You got to be very careful.
So here, I'd like to give you this before I get into, as we continue to move on. And, last time we were here, and I like this one because, as you know, you hear all the time, backed by popular demand. Well, and it's stuck in my head, black by popular
Black
demand.
by popular demand.
Because we want to recognize everybody, and as we know, who comes on this show or revisit, it's family, brothers and sisters.
That's
But
right.
we respect the titles and position that you may want us to identify you by, but we always, extend that courtesy to that person.
That's right.
But here, we're going to bring back by popular demand,
popular demand.
black popular demand.
That's right.
And that's what's important. And our sister, our guest today, Gina Leto Juice, Sankofa Sojourn. I'm going to let her give you the background of who she is more so. But I just like to say in short, it is truly a pleasure for this sister to come back and to continue to share from her perspective since the last time we met and we spoke. And in short, we have done a short podcast, back during the spring with the cherry blossom. You haven't seen it, but we have it. We have proof of it because it was video. So don't think we're just talking.
Yeah,
but it was truly a pleasure to have the conversation we had at that time. And this sister really enlightened us at that time. So again, today, with we extend to you, our guest, our sister, Gina.
Hello, my sister.
Hello. Thank you.
As get black by popular demand. Welcome back. It's interesting because the last time we had you on the show, you were very, very interesting, and that's why we had you come back for our second season.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it's been a year since we had you on the program, and you're back. But now I feel, and Ron feels, you're a woman who needs no introduction, okay, because we know you so well.
Okay.
But I think those who may be seeing you for the first time, I want you to tell them, what is Sankofa Sojourns? What is that exactly?
Okay. Well, first off, happy anniversary. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your second year. This is wonderful.
Yes,
the work
yes.
is very meaningful, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Okay, so Sankofa Sojourns, that is the business that I run, basically. And the purpose of Sankofa Sojourns, we have many purposes. So first I'll break down the name for you.
Please.
So Sankofa, that's an Akan principle. That's from the present-day Ghana, that region in Africa, and that's where the Akan people are from. And the principle of Sankofa is it is not taboo to go back and fetch what is at risk of being lost.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
I
so
like that.
it's okay, and we need to look back in our history, look back in time, look back into the past, so that we can bring forward what we need for now and to push us into the future.
Yeah.
So that's the concept of Sankofa. And a sojourn just means temporary stay. So it's just a trip someplace you go, and it's a temporary stay there. So the reason I call the business Sankofa Sojourns is because we study history. We study our history as it relates to Africa and the transatlantic slave trade and life around the world. And we learn from our history. We then go to places connected to that history. So we take sojourns. That's what we call them. So we'll take a sojourn to a place that we may have learned about, and we go and see the history for ourselves. And while we're there, we do healing work. We don't just go and just see it and say, oh, wasn't that terrible? We're going there to transform it. We're going there to change the narrative, change the residue from that experience. So you may go to a place, we'll take a sojourn somewhere, and we'll do journaling, meditation, breath work. We may do some yoga. We may do, and we will do, creative things, because creativity helps to transform trauma. So that's why they have, different art therapies and things like that. So what we'll do is we may have a session where we're writing poetry. We may have a session where we're drawing pictures. We may have a session where we're doing comedy. We may have a fashion show, a dance-off, something to bring fun and joy and art and creativity. to spaces where trauma and pain have taken place. So the sojourn has many dimensions.
Yeah.
That's what we do with Sankofa Sojourns.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And also, you're a part of another online community, because I know sometimes early in the morning, I see some people coming together to teach, and I'm always just impressed by that. So, what is that about?
Oh, I'm in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So that what you're talking about is Wake Up Everybody.
Yes.
So Wake Up Everybody
Wake Up Everybody.
Yeah, I'm a participant. I'm I'm in the audience like you
Yeah,
too,
yep.
but I'm also a facilitator from different times. And I play an administrative role behind the scenes with Wake Up Everybody as well. It's an online platform just designed to do just that too, elevate, transform, ascend. Right? It is the brainchild of Shawnee Benton Gibson.
Okay.
Right? And so she was inspired by her daughter, who's an ancestor, during COVID to create this platform for
beautiful.
people. And also her other ancestors. It wasn't just her daughter, but she said it's ancestrally inspired work that she does. So it's a platform we're on Sunday through Thursday at 7 a.m.
Okay. All right.
It's on Zoom and Facebook. And, everyone is welcome to register and join. And it is a wonderful platform because people come on to share what they know, and that's what it's all about, because we all will elevate each other.
Yes.
Right? Because what I know, you may not know. What you know, I may not know. And so we come together and Wake Up Everybody at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we do some wonderful things, and we have a good time.
Well, hey, I can attest to that. Again, Wake Up Everybody is something. Again, we always talking about the song by Teddy Pendergrass, Wake Up Everybody. And again, and I just really want to thank you for being part of different platforms, because by doing that, you're such a multi-talented young lady, and you need different platforms. And we're going to talk about a new platform after we go through a mind, body, and books segment. But I want to bring Ron in on this before I go into the mind, body, and books. So she's here. She's back.
I know. I said, I got to be honest with you. You get nervous, but it's all the good nerves, because again, it's truly
our
a
sister.
pleasure, no matter how you look at it. Our sister, and just listening to our sister express who she is, her background, what she do, her journey is what we are inspired by you. That's and right. What we try to do, whether it's reading or writing or something, whatever. But we are here because of storytelling. Our history, who we are, is based on the story that was told. Somebody wrote our story. Somebody wrote us into their story. Somebody wrote us into the story of the books that we read today. I don't care if it's the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, or any other book. History is who you are. You are history. You are the dots, the T's, the I's, the cross this and cross that, no matter how you look at it. You're everything. But see, the difference between you and I is the fact that so many out there are departed. You're like a book torn apart and let somebody scatter all your pieces. It's not about that. Now, it's about us gathering those pieces, just like our sister came back. We invited her back. She came. She came with an open heart, open mind, to share her story, to talk to us. And that's what's important. I'm always impressed. And I'll be honest with you, because, again, it's like starting all over, something new. It's nothing old, but it's something new. Every time I see this sister, whenever I see any of our guests, male or female, it doesn't matter, or passing by, and just a smile, you'd be surprised what it does and how it changes somebody, because you don't know what somebody is going through. So that's what's important, just a smile.
It's important, and that's why, those who are regular viewers, of course, you've seen Gina before, but you're going to see a lot of people from the first year that we did come back, and we'll catch up with them, because I want you to know that we bring very progressive people on the program. So what they're doing last year, they're probably doing that and much, much more. And we're going to get into that with our guest, Gina. So I want to go into the Mind, Body, and Books segment. And I want to start with a book here. It's a new book. As a matter of fact, this book just came out, and it's called If I Ruled the World, a novel by Amy Du Bois Barnett. And again, this is her debut novel, the first novel that she's written. She wrote a book before, which was a nonfiction book entitled "Get Yours: How to Have Everything You Ever Dreamed of and More." And this is her fiction debut. And Ron is beautiful with this book here. I just began to read it, but in the back of the book, she has 3 pages of acknowledgments, which goes to show, although she wrote the book herself, she had help along the way. Editors, promoters, people to getting the book out. So again, If I Rule the World, a novel by Amy Du Bois Barnett. Again, fiction. The second book that I want to share with you is entitled "It Was the Way She Said It," short stories, essays, and wisdom. And this is from Terry McMillan. It's almost like she went through her files and just put together this book of different creative things that she has done. I had the opportunity, the pleasure of meeting Terry McMillan when she published her first book, Mama. As a matter of fact, I just started teaching African American literature at Union County College, and she was one of my first guests in the class. And it was a 3-hour class because I was also a college administrator, so I can only teach 1 day a week. And they gave me a 3-hour block to teach my Black literature course. And I met Terry McMillan before she became Terry McMillan, before Stella got a groove back and disappearing acts and all the other kind of stuff. I was so happy to meet her, and she sent me what they call the galleys of her book, and I was able to read the book and extend an invitation to her. And so, look, we all have to start somewhere, and this is where Terry McMillan started with a book called Mama, and now she is a legend. She is a legend. Speaking of legends, we're going to, again, this is the first day of Black History Month. Began as Black History Week, and again, the originator of that is a gentleman named Carter G. Woodson, and he has a book that he wrote called The Miseducation of the Negro, which we're going to talk about more in depth, but I just want you to know that. So again, mind, body, and books for me is building blocks, because again, we're moving towards something. And what we're moving to is to make sure that you become independent thinkers. You read the books that we recommend, you listen to the guests that we bring on, you listen to the conversations that we have. And we all do that because we want you to be independent thinkers, because what we have to deal with in this time in our lives is somewhat complex. But you got to get your mind together, the mind, the body, the spirit. And so in that vein, we go to the last part of our program, was entitled Food for Thought, the Art of Conversation. And in this session, we're going to talk about a new podcast, because I told you our guests, man, they're always doing something. They always got something going. And so it gives me great pleasure to bring Gina back to talk about her podcast that really had debuted a few days ago. And I got a chance to listen to it, and I was really impressed with what you had to say, my sister. You make me so proud. You're my sister. I love you so much. And the name of the podcast is Africa, A to Z. And Gina is here to talk about it, and we're here to talk about it with her. So, Gina, Africa, A to Z, what is that about?
Africa A to Z, that's my new podcast. Yes, it just debuted on Tuesday, January 27th. So this is a podcast where we're going to take a walk through Africa, the continent of Africa, all 54 countries, and just learn about each country. Because like you were saying, Ron, inception, right? You have to know where a thing started in order to understand that thing. And that thing is us. Because everything started in Africa. All humanity started in Africa. They've traced it. This is scientifically proven. That's where the oldest DNA in the world is from. Yeah. So that's our inception, but we don't know anything about it. We're very distant from Africa, and that's by design. You know, there is a thing at play called divide and conquer.
That's right. That's right.
And you can't have us know each other and understand each other and work together and still control everything and control our movements and our thoughts. So we have been socialized and trained away from our history, away from Africa. And by we, I mean everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone. And it actually works on the continent of Africa as well, where people are socialized and trained away from us and taught not to think highly of us because, when you are growing up, in Africa, you may only see negative images of African Americans, right? And that's to reinforce this distance between us. And so we have our stereotypes built up, and people over there have their stereotypes built up, and nobody's willing to build a bridge. So Africa A to Z is to break down those stereotypes. Let's just learn. Let's learn together about all the different countries in Africa. And let's learn a little bit about the culture, the food, the language, the history, the politics, everything, so that we can understand it for ourselves, so that we can understand who we are and we can embrace it.
That's beautiful. And again, 54 countries. Africa is 54 countries. A lot of people they can't conceive it because they think Africa is all jungle. And I was just saying before we came on air, I'm watching a show on, I think it's on the Stars streaming service called The Nowhere Man. It is an African production. As a matter of fact, the first scene takes place in Cape Town. And so again, just to help our viewers, our listeners, what countries have you been to in Africa?
Okay, so I've been to Senegal, Egypt, Morocco, Benin Republic, and there's another, South Africa.
Okay.
So that's where I've been so far.
And you have a personal connection to it because your husband is from
Senegal.
From Senegal.
Yes,
okay.
That's true. Yes.
had to get that personal in there. Okay. But again, it's so sad that we don't know about this. And the only way we're going to get this information is if we give it to our people. Because I know my brother here, he's been to Africa.
Exactly. And that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for the first time, and I want to say this in short, the most important, as the sister expressed, and I had the opportunity going, but for years, all those, I know everybody on this line and on our audio in the VIP know Gil Noble. Yes, and he said at least once in your lifetime, everyone should visit Africa. And so when the opportunity came to me and I was asked, I didn't hesitate. You go. There's no reason why you can't say that Starbucks coffee money, put it aside, or Dunkin' Donuts and everything else.
It can be
but
done.
go to Africa once in your lifetime. If you've been there, you have a story to tell. Because my experience, in short, is that they welcomed me. I felt freedom the moment I got on the plane at JFK. And the moment I landed in Africa, Tanzania, I felt like I was home. I felt so much freedom, it was pathetic. And I had the opportunity to sit among the Messiah tribe who welcomed me. I said, I feel like I'm home. They said, we welcome you because you know where your ancestors come from. Yes. That was powerful. First time in my life. So as this sister is sharing her story, being the places I always thought about, talked about, but never prepared to do it. And so again, these are reminders when you hear it, do it, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, because we know in New York and also New Jersey, you have maybe different stores who have African food, or they have beauty salons, they do African hair and that kind of thing. But again, I like the fact that when you're talking about your podcast going from A to Z, is not just the geography. You're going to talk about the music and the dance and the culture. And I think I think that is the cruelest thing that has been withheld from the American black. We have an idea of the music and the dance and the culture, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. And you said you're going to have some guests come on. What kind of guests are you going to have on? What are they going to be talking about?
Well, I want regular, everyday people from different countries. I would love a representative from all 54 countries, right, to come on the podcast and talk to us. Because I want us to learn from lived experience. from the people who actually live in Africa. You may not live there now, but maybe that's where you were from, and and that's where you understand life there. And I want to discuss just so we can all get to know someone, because there is still a lot of friction. There is still a lot of friction between African Americans and African people, and we need to dispel that, because there's way more unity than friction. But no one talks about the unity. And if you don't know somebody, the chances are you don't understand them, and you may fear them.
That's right.
So as you get to know people, you get to understand their cultural differences, who they are, how they live, what motivates them. So I want to talk about things like that, and I also want to know from each person, what is their dream for the future of their country?
Okay.
Right? What do you hope to see accomplished in your country, as in the future? Because I want us all to be able to envision an Afro future. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna be here. So let's plan for how we want to be as we go along in the future. So those are some of the things I'll be asking. Those are some of the questions I'll be asking. And the hope is to build that bridge. I had a lot of people say to me, had someone say to me, oh, you want to have people from a certain country on your podcast? Those people were very racist to so-and-so, and why would you, are you sure you want to do that? And with respect, I had to hear that person out.
Yeah, of course.
And then I said, well, yes, that's exactly why we need to talk. That's why we need to get to know each other, because it's very easy to just make blanket statements about people when you don't know them and when you don't understand anything. So perhaps by having conversations one-on-one, we can get a deeper understanding of each other. And at the end of the day, be able to work together for that Afro future.
Well, see, the thing is, I think that we're more alike than we're different. And the thing that you mentioned in your introduction, we talked about Africa being the cradle of civilization, okay? All our DNA points back to Africa. And again, and we can't discount that. Now, we can say it's not important, but again, Ron always says, man, we have to start from somewhere, okay? And we started from there, and those American, I call them American Africans, or the African Americans, because that's, for me, that's a little clearer. We are Africans in America. It's like we are Africans in the American experience. We know that our culture is a lot deeper than what we're given here. That's why today's agenda, the American dream, I can see clearly now, is not what it was cracked up to be. And when you take my history and you want to wipe it off the map, not realizing that my history, my culture has influenced all of this. Anything that is beautiful in this country was made by black people, African people, coming from our greatness. And that's why on the program we talk about a book entitled Before Columbus, okay? We talk about books by John Henry Clark, okay? We talk about books by Ivan Van Sertima, And these are people that, I don't know any people. Yeah, but, there's a reason for that. But what you're doing, see, I love what you're doing, because what's going to happen, see, that's going to make people curious. Wow, you hear about one country, you want to hear about another 54 countries? Jen, you got your work cut out for you, man. You're going to be doing this for a long time, especially if you cover all 54 countries, because I'm sure that in the time of your podcast, oh man, especially if people call in, people I know, because just in your launch, people were writing comments about, oh yeah, this is good, this is something that they want to look for. So the anticipation is there.
Yes.
And I know,
okay.
you're going to rise to the occasion, and so I'm excited about the podcast, Africa A to Z. And I'm going to be listening. You know, you got a fan. I'm going to listen to it.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna start doing the same thing because I'm inspired. Because that's what it's all about.
That's right.
Okay.
You know,
Thank
matter of
you.
fact, even as we're talking here, and our sister visit Africa. My sister been to Morocco, and other people been to Morocco, and all this other place. I've been talking about it. Haven't gotten there. But the point is, how many of y'all out there traveled the United States? The 50,
Ooh.
was it 50 states, 52? How many of y'all traveled? I mean, how many of y'all been out of New Jersey?
Yes.
New Jersey had 41 counties. You say, how many counties have you traveled to? North, south, east, or west? How many? And from the top of the line of New Jersey, New York, down to Atlantic City. I guarantee most of y'all been to Atlantic City.
Right.
But how many of y'all explore Atlantic City or Cape May? So the point is, what's being said here is, what have you learned? Where have you traveled to?
That's right. Where have you been?
Most of y'all, a good percentage of y'all went to the island, somebody else's island, but you never even got out your own backyard. And that's what's important. So this conversation, our sister who's sharing what she had done, her podcast, that's what's important. The motherland, know where you come from. It's not about where somebody told you was born at and what you don't know. But when you learn something from your ancestors, as I did and I experienced, and I support what this sister has said and learn from her journey, and I'm going to listen to her podcast. I'm learning something. We learn something each and every single second of our breathing life, no matter how you look at it. And that's what's important. You learn something. And once you learn something, then you're able to tell the story. You can't teach a child something if you didn't learn anything. And then you get mad at the child because they grew up and won't teach you anything. They ignore you. Because when they ask you a question, you can't answer it. The question is why.
Yeah, because in your podcast, you're talking about looking at things through the African lens, you know, through the Afrocentric lens, looking at through it, not through European eyes or Western eyes, because they don't see us as we see ourselves. And the thing I love that what you're doing, you make it so plain. You make it so. I mean, when I was listening to the podcast, I was thoroughly entertained. You know, I was thoroughly entertained, and I was thoroughly enlightened, because again, I mean, I went to many colleges and universities. They don't teach this. and I shared before we went on the air. I was asking you, and I mean, I don't know if you know, because I don't know, what are they teaching young people in schools today?
Oh, I don't know. But I mean,
and I'm scared.
no, you know, you honestly would say, when you say what are they teaching,
please.
right? Why do we let them teach our children? And let them, I'm not saying any one particular group. I'm saying any group that's not you.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. No one else takes their children and puts their education into the hands of the oppressor.
Yeah.
That's the American way, right? We take our children and we send them off to schools where we know the system is designed to crush us. And then we say, okay, do the best you can, you know. So the very least we need to do is balance that out by providing different information. So my podcast, I am going to make it plain because I want the babies listening too. And I think I said that. I want the babies and the nanas. I want everybody, because everyone needs to know. And also, if you could grow up empowered and informed, you have a different trajectory than if you just have no idea. And you just had no idea. You just didn't know any better. So, yeah, what are they teaching them? Who knows? But we know that, you know, now it's a little different than when I went to school, when you went to school. You know, now they have whole courses, Africana Studies. You can major in that. And, you know, at Rutgers, different universities, you can major in Africana Studies, and you can learn a lot about different things. But not everyone goes to college.
That's right.
And not everyone majors in Africana Studies when they do, because what would you do with that degree, right? The point of college, everyone thinks, is to get up and go find a job.
That's right.
So you're going to study something that's going to be able to earn you a living. So what are the odds that you're going to study Africana Studies or African history unless you're in, you know, HBCU, or if you go to school in Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, they make you take African history. You're going to study your history if you're, you know, before you can graduate high school in the city of Philadelphia. But that's not everywhere, you know. So what are they teaching? We don't know, but we know what we can teach.
And again, I thank you for the podcast. I'm looking forward to it. But you made a good point because, again, as parents, as brothers and sisters, it's up to us to teach our people what they need to know, because we're going to survive this American dream, which for some is like American nightmare, because we see clearly now that it's on us. We can't expect our children to educate our children, because again, I always tell my son, I said, it's my obligation to look out for you because I brought you into this world. You didn't actually be brought here, but I brought you in, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm take care of you. Ron, I tell you, man, this program goes so fast that we're almost out of time. But I know that you're going to bring everything together and get us out of here. And Gina, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Just you can listen to the podcast anywhere. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on iHeartRadio Podcasts. It's on Spotify. Anywhere you get your podcast, you'll be able to find Africa A to Z. So please, everyone, take a listen. Join the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it is a community.
And there's no excuse. You sit there on your tablet, the phone, you listen to gossip, everything. Ain't no way in hell you can't spend 1 second to listen to this sister.
Preach, brother.
Listen to the stories around the world, because everybody has a story. That's why we're here. We're talking, learning.
That's right.
And I want to touch on a couple of things. Yeah, because as the sister mentioned about, somebody said, well, they hate us, they don't racism. Guess what? You learn from it. Get in their face. You hate me? Yeah, I hate you. Why? And then all of a sudden they get dumb at the mouth because they can't explain why. You're teaching them to understand that what they was taught is a negative to the opposite of something that's positive. Life is positive for all of God's creation. Even an atheist who don't believe in God, let him get in trouble or her get in trouble, sit there and scream, oh, Lord, why are you saving this man? You see, so you have to understand, learn everything. That's what's important. That's right. And even as the agenda, I can see clearly now, Proverbs 29:18, where there's no vision, my people perish. Do you have a vision? Do you see? Do you think? Do you feel? Do you smell? Do you taste? What do you do? Otherwise, you just become dormant. Now you're in somebody's space, wasting time, doing nothing. That's right. And guess what? Even God, your higher power, comes sweeping you out of the way because you serve no purpose. But he created you to serve a purpose. And as the sister was saying, as we're talking about education, when our ancestors was enslaved, when we couldn't teach our own, we were teaching our own. We learned from them by sneaking in the woods and listening to the words and whatnot. But see, too many of y'all today want to run off at the mouth. You tell every damn thing instead of listening. And so the fact that you run off at the mouth, but you're not listening to teach your kids. We have everything under the sun. They learn from us. They took from us. Everything you getting from the system today is what they took from you to make you believe your ancestors, you didn't know nothing. You didn't do nothing. We talk about it all the time, braiding hair. You wearing everybody else's stuff. What about your sisters in Africa? That's right. When they drew the maps in your head and everything else? Listen to the drum beats of the native Indians when they told you which way to go, what to do. But you won't listen because you won't wake up. And because you sleep and you won't wake up, you won't do anything. And like we always said, I'm going to write a book someday. So
wake up, everybody.
All that's important. And I want to get a couple minutes because even in this book I got, but I'm not going to get into it, Africa.
Yes.
It tells a story. Everything we talk about, the sister here, the experience, and the continuation, it's in the book. Right. I have this book. Do I need to go to school to find out what's in here? No. If I can't read or pronounce a word, I'm somebody here. Here's a professor right here. Here's a cop professor. I'm sitting right here next to one. No matter how you look at it. Here's a sister. She's a teacher. Everybody's a teacher. Right. This is what we do. Right. We don't have to be begging nobody. Because when we wasn't in school, how did we learn how to cook? And learn from the earth, the herbs and spices and everything else, and knitting and crocheting and this and that and the other. The mechanic. My brother and I was talking about that earlier. Right. How many brothers out here had a mechanic shop when we had what we call shade tree mechanics back then? How many women are teaching the young girls today how to cook, how to sew, and whatnot? We don't have nothing because you allowed the man to take all your manufacture away from you. And he built those manufacturers because he learned from you. He watched you in the cotton fields while he was destroying your backside and your backside over on both sides of the backside. No matter how you look, you know what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is, we were teaching each other. We was there for each other. There's no reason and no escape, no excuse why we can't continue to come together, not only join this system, but this podcast, listen to the story, because we're constantly learning.
That's right.
I don't know everything. The brother don't know everything. He's been a professor all his life.
Still learning.
Since he was 9 years old.
I started as a child.
But in all seriousness, because again, we take all this serious, we have fun, we laugh, and we truly appreciate, we learn from each other, our guests, no matter how you look at it. Because again, her journey to places, and we have guests here that have been to other places. But those stories inspires us, just like on her podcast, when she talked to her audience, she inspired them who had the exact same thing you're going through today.
Yes.
But all it takes is for the positive to connect with the positive to help somebody who's weeping and lonely, who's sad and hurting. You'd be surprised. Every one of us is a doctor with some kind of medical experience. Mm-hmm. And that don't mean you have to be a doctor with your so-called society's medicine, but learn what the herbs and spices are, castor oil and all those other things. How do somebody teach somebody this system, and how she tells somebody on a podcast or somebody from another land, say, no, we use this for our healing, get colds or whatnot.
That's right.
We have it.
Yes, we have it.
Teach it.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah, because there's the expression, each one teach one, and that's even more relevant to today. I mean, last program we talked about sharing is the essence of teaching. So you have information, you share it with someone else, and that's what we're about, and that's what our sisters are about, and that's what we ask you to be about, because there's so many things we need to know now so we can survive this nightmare that used to be called American Dream.
Let me do this in short. Got a couple minutes. This one's in short. Life of a Stoic. Rules that simplify the 4 pillars of cardinal virtue: wisdom, courage, justice, temperaments, forming a framework for living a virtuous, rational, and fulfilling life by focusing on what we control, our reaction and character, rather than external events. These virtues guide ethical behavior, helping individuals discern good from bad, act rightly in adversity, treat others fairly, and control desires. Wisdom, prudence; courage, fortitude; justice, fairness; temperance, moderation. These virtues work together as a complete system for achieving tranquility and living well, as emphasized by Stoic philosopher like Marcus Aurelius. Philosophy, Stoic, learn what life is. Listen to the story. Listen to somebody. I learned not only listen to somebody's story, but I listen to the music, the sounds of music, a choir in the church. Somebody's harmonized. The birds harmonize, buds, birds, everything harmonized. Squirrels even sing. Do you listen? No. And that's what's important.
Yeah, so we have about 5 minutes left. So we want to say good night to you, and we have a little bit more in the program. But again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching.
I had 2, but since we had a couple minutes, and let me read this. This one is titled "Echoing Voice Sings Loudly." Black voices sang loudly towards the heavenly plains, dancing to a rhythm until all the saints came near and far. We rose to the occasion, moving with a melody until sunset. The moon called our names one by one as the ocean roared and the thunder spelled words across the skies, never looking back. As far as our eyes can see, the mountain's top blows the trumpet until the earth moves, shuffling our pain away. Signs along the way points in one direction, saying that freedom washes away the wounds, leaving the marks on our back, so we never forget how we endure the past today. A cry deep within, my soul cries for mercy, release from this painstaking, unable to endure. Yearning in a pleading concert without an audience to soothe my conflicting sorrow. A meltdown, but never on my knees. from darkness to the marvelous light, shining with a gleam so vast, so harmonious. We sing for the Master, forgiveness in our commitment. Judgment is not our shackle. The bell will ring when the day is done. Howling winds whisper a new tune. We will sing our new song. Homeward bound, always remembering where we come from. But the blues of plains are in the poetry, writing, painting, archaeological, and in building a new lane across the valley, across the blistering rain. Tears of joy welcome each one with a cloak, wrapped in the Holy Spirit, a dress in many colors, like Joseph, with too many to count, with no shame to blame. But proud as the stars standing shoulder to shoulder, laying out a mathematical path in numbers beyond the weeping willows, sounds never heard, a pathway not straight, with many twists and turns just beyond the boundaries as far as our eyes can see. The hallelujah declaration along the riverside, we flow like a river of streams, soothing our souls, homeward bound. Never to worry as our voices sing, as the darkness of hell rose crying for mercy to forgive. Only time will tell when the chains that binds us shall be released in our eternal life. We'll never know what God has in store for a sinner's wrong. Rise echoing voice and sing with power until the gates are closed against the dark damnation, free from the living torment that paved our way to where we are. The matriarch shuffles silently as a thunderous sound led us by freedom, our Savior who led the way. Like Abraham, Moses, Joshua, and Jesus too. My brothers and my sisters, once again, it's a pleasure with our sister be here, and we truly thank you for joining us and participating in our conversation. No matter how you look at it, our VIP room is continuing to grow, and we thank you for coming. Once again, everyone, have a blessed and safe and wondrous evening this evening until we meet again and talk to you again. Once again, call up that podcast, join in that podcast, yield to that sister and talk to her and say, I'm here. I want to listen and learn, no matter how you look at it. So there's no excuse. So until we meet again, have a good one.
Africa A to Z. Remember that. Good night.